After-school action with a talking Trans Am felt like pure 80s rocket fuel. Neon sunsets, synths that purred, and a red scanner light you could spot from your couch. But under the cool, Knight Rider ran on practical tricks, bold stunts, and a surprising amount of craftsmanship. Tonight we're popping the hood on 15 production secrets that turn a childhood favorite into a grown-up appreciation ride. How the car drove itself, why the banter worked, and where that iconic theme really came from. Expect fast, juicy mini-stories, some weight, what, revelations, and a joyride of snack bar nostalgia. If the 80s and early 90s are your happy place, tap subscribe. Let's roll. Number 15, The Lone Ranger, with a car. The seed was pulp simple. Creator Glenn A. Larson pitched the show as a modern Western, where the masked rider is a mysterious hero and the horse is a high-tech partner. A lone do-gooder rolls into town, rights a wrong, and cruises out at sundown. Only this time, the sidekick talks back with dry wit and a pulsing red eye. That Western skeleton explains the show's rhythm. New town, new menace, familiar code. It also justified KITT as more than a gadget. He's the Tonto of the freeway, the conscience and strategy as much as the horsepower. The premise sounds obvious now, but in the early 80s, it read like sci-fi poetry you could watch with your dad. Episodic structure made production flexible. Reset the board each week, keep the hero in the car, swap in a new town and guest cast. That kept budgets predictable and let stunt teams design fresh set pieces without continuity handcuffs. You can feel the Western DNA in the geography. Dusty roads, highway vistas, and small towns with a single bad boss. Replace horses with hubcaps, and you've basically got a TV odor with a synthesizer. Quick pit stop. If peeling back this first secret revved your nostalgia, tap subscribe and ring the bell. We're about to hit voice magic, hidden drivers, and stunt math. You won't want to miss the next gear. Number 14, the voice that made the car human. KITT works because he sounds like a person you trust. The production made a crucial call: avoid robot monotone and lean into warmth, timing, and gentle sarcasm. Recording sessions happened after filming, with the actor matching Hasselhoff's pauses, so the banter clicked like live dialogue. The result isn't computer beeps. It's a partner who can tease, worry, and say, "Michael, that would be inadvisable," in a way that makes you smile. Early on, the voice actor even skipped on-screen credit to keep a little magic, so kids could believe the car was the car. It's a lesson lots of copycats missed. Personality first, circuitry second. The performance choice steered writing. Once the room heard how wry and patient KITT sounded, scripts leaned into odd couple comedy. The impulsive human and the measured friend who cares enough to protest. There's a reason kids talk to their toy kits. The voice was written and mixed like a confidant, not a computer. If the car had sounded cold, the show collapses into gimmickry. Number 13. Michael and KITT didn't meet at first. On set, the human and the car were ships in the night. Scenes were shot with Hasselhoff delivering his side to a silent dashboard. The voice came later in post. That meant the two leads barely crossed paths until press events and rap parties. A funny irony considering their chemistry drives the show. It also put unusual pressure on editors. They had to sculpt micropauses so conversations felt musical, like a buddy cop routine where one cop happens to be a Pontiac. Cast and crew joked that the third lead was the editor. Cutting two separate performances into a single moment meant finding a rhythm you can tap your foot to. Breath, joke, reaction, glance to the scanner. When the duo finally did press together, it cemented the illusion. Fans saw a friendly actor and heard a familiar voice, and the magic somehow got stronger. Number 12, KITT versus Tat and the evil twins voice. The name wasn't locked at the start. Early drafts reportedly toyed with Tat Trans Am 2000 before landing on the Smoother Night Industries 2000. Acronyms mattered because the nemesis needed bite. Car, the night automated roving robot, sounded menacing the second you heard it. And yes, the villain car's voice changed between appearances, voiced at different times by industry titans, including Peter Cullen and Paul Frees. which only added to Car's uncanny, unpredictable vibe. Inside the lore, Car is the earlier prototype with one fatal flaw: self-preservation over human safety. That single parameter change explains why the twin feels wrong. He's you, first in a show built on help first. Swapping voices between appearances added to the menace. Even if you didn't clock the actors, your ear knew something about Car was off. Number 11. A whole stable of kits. The car was actually a small fleet. Production kept hero cars for beauty shots and interiors, stunt cars for abuse, and specialty rigs for gags. One kit might have the pristine dashboard. Another had reinforced suspension for a pipe ramp jump. A third was prepped to launch an ejector bit on cue. That's how the series could wreck a nose on Tuesday and be camera ready by Friday. If you ever noticed paint looking suspiciously perfect after a crash, congratulations, you spotted the swap. Hero cars carried immaculate interior pieces and clean bodywork for close-ups. Stunt kits wore hidden armor, caged interiors, and suspensions that could stomach curb hits and ramp takeoffs. Insert cars existed purely for tight dashboard work. Power supplies under the seats, hidden switches for practical light gags, and removable panels so the camera could live where the glove box should be. Number 10. The scanner's DNA and the futurist dashboard. The sweeping red light across KITT's nose didn't come from nowhere. The production leaned into a visual language the creator had used before, a hypnotic eye that reads alive. Inside, designer Michael Sheffy imagined a cockpit that felt closer to a fighter jet than a family car, a yoke instead of a wheel, LED bars that listened while KITT spoke, and a sea of segmented numerals and chevrons so quick inserts were instantly readable. It wasn't just set dressing, it was performance design that let Hasselhoff play the dash. That scanner wasn't only cool, it solved a filmmaking problem. Give the audience a readable face for a car. A sweep left to right can feel like curiosity. A steady pulse can read as listening. Sheffy's cockpit was also legible at a glance. Repeating shapes, chevrons, bars, segmented numerals, meant you could cut to an insert for half a second and still sell systems online. Number 9. How KITT drove himself. Here's the magic trick: right seat driving. Stunt teams built a hidden control perch low on the passenger side, so a driver could crouch and steer while cameras framed him out. For dialogue or highway shots, tow rigs and pod cars took over. KITT locked to a camera vehicle while the actor focused on delivering lines with the world rushing by. Add careful angles and a little audio sweetening, and you get a car that seems self-possessed, years before consumer autopilot features were even rumors. The hidden driver typically wore dark clothing and gloves to disappear into the dash shadow. Tinted glass and careful exposure did the rest. Pod cars let stunt drivers steer from a roof-mounted rig, keeping the actor safe inside while the vehicle hit precise marks at speed. An analog solution that still photographs beautifully. Number 8. Turbo Boost was real stunt science. Those wall hops and canyon launches weren't computers. They were physics, ramps, and nerve. Stunt coordinator Jack Gill's team scouted approach speeds, ramp heights, and landing zones, then launched sacrificial stunt cars with choreography more like ballet than demolition derby. The soaring shot you remember might last 2 seconds. The math and resets took days. It's why Turbo Boost still plays. Gravity is the best special effect. Those big leaps were often reused as stock shots across episodes, a budget trick that also built a mythic vocabulary. You didn't mind. The jump was the point. Watch the landing dust and you'll notice how often the car bites nose first. Suspension repairs were a weekly way of life for the mechanics keeping the stunt fleet rolling. Mid-roll pit stop. If Knight Rider ever made you slide a toy car across a coffee table while going whoosh, drop a turbo boost in the comments and hit like. It tells the algorithm to green light more deep dives like this. And it keeps Box Set and Chill digging up the stuff you forgot you loved. Number 7. The Pontiac Partnership. The base hero was a then-new Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, and the halo effect was real. Pop-up headlights and that low, sharky nose became poster material overnight. Automaker cooperation opened doors for parts and picture cars, even as the production kept branding flexible on air. The exchange was simple. The show got a dramatic silhouette. The car got myth status. To this day, any black third-gen Firebird risks being called KITT at the gas station. Timing helped. The third-gen Firebird was new and angular, perfect for a future-leaning hero. Even without dialogue, its silhouette told you this was a different kind of crime fighter. Owners still get the question at gas stations. Does it talk? That's brand alchemy TV executives dream about, a prop that rewires how we see a real-world product. Number 6, the theme's classical DNA. The earworm you can hum right now came from composer Stu Phillips, with series creator credit. A synth-driven line that nods to Leo Delibes' 19th century ballet, Sylvia. That blend of romantic-era contour and modern electronics is why it feels both noble and propulsive. It sneaks high culture into a highway show, and your brain never forgets it. Listen to the opening bars, a minor key ostinato that climbs with synth strings on top. It feels like a mission briefing on wheels, tension plus forward momentum. Pulling from Delibes isn't theft, it's lineage. Television composers have long borrowed classical figures because they map emotion fast. Here, it maps mystery and motion at once. Number 5. The dashboard was a co-star. KITT's interior didn't just look cool, it gave actors business. The yoke sold the future without a word. Those dancing meters made dialogue feel alive, and the endless buttons let Hasselhoff play pilot, not passenger. Half the fantasy of Knight Rider is wanting to press every labeled switch and see what happens, a built-in toyetic quality that made the cockpit a merchandising department's dream. Prop masters kept multiple bezels and panels ready so the cockpit could evolve subtly over seasons. Later episodes lean harder into segmented displays that read cleaner on tape. That yoke wasn't about realism, it was about fantasy ergonomics. The second you see it, you know this is not your dad's commute. It's a mission. Number 4. Editing and ADR made the banter snap. Because the car's lines were recorded later, editors and sound mixers became stealth scene partners. They stretched or tightened breaths, tucked in quips, and shaped the musical back and forth so Michael and KITT sounded like they were interrupting each other in real time. It's an invisible craft. You only notice it when it's missing. And it's a big reason the friendship feels real. Host teams built a consistent voice print for KITT. Slight room tone, tight EQ, and just enough presence to feel like it's coming from the dash, not a booth. Your ear believes because the mix tells it to. Standards and practices shaped action beats too. Gunplay stayed limited. Injuries were implied more than shown, and the show leaned on car foo over body harm. Non-lethal heroics kept the series kid-friendly without sanding off all the danger. Number 3. The show you remember may be the syndicated cut. Afternoon reruns trimmed minutes for extra commercials, and some prints softened impacts or clipped jokes for standards. That's why the scene you swear existed sometimes doesn't. Deep cut fans hunt uncut releases and international masters to recover missing beats. A scavenger hunt that proves how carefully the show was made. Some regions also swapped opening cards or music cues, which is why international fans sometimes remember different rhythms. Home video restorations try to reconcile those versions, but broadcast history is a patchwork quilt. If you ever quote a line no one else recalls, you might be remembering a pre-syndication cut, the ghost version that ran once and never again. Number 2, merch, toys, and the business behind the dream. Knight Rider was built for lunchboxes, a clean silhouette, a name you could chant, and a hero device with a personality. Smart licensing turned that into model kits, remote control cars, voice chip toys, and posters. For the creators, it was a revenue stream. For kids, it was proof you could take the show with you. That merchandising halo kept KITT visible long after new episodes stopped airing. Voice chip toys that said the car's name, die-cast models with a red LED in the nose, plastic dashboards you could stick on a bedroom wall. The IP translated cleanly into play. Licensing also kept the fandom alive between reboots. When a property lives on lunchboxes, it never really goes off the air. Number 1. Why it still works. Strip away the 80s gloss and you've got a timeless recipe, a wandering hero western, an earnest lead who can wink without winking, and a partner with a voice that cares. The tech is retro now, the stunts are analog, and that's exactly why it charms. It's tactile. Knight Rider didn't ask you to admire computers, it invited you to believe in loyalty. Decades later, the red scanner sweeps by and you feel it in your chest. Some icons idle forever. Rewatch today and the analog craft glows. Sunlight on real bodywork, dust plumes that obey the wind, jumps that risk dents. It's tactile in a way digital shows rarely are. At heart, it's a show about trust. Michael trusts KITT, KITT trusts Michael, and together they make strangers safer. That promise never ages. So tell us, which of these Knight Rider secrets blew your mind the most? Right now you feel all fuzzy and nostalgic, yeah? For this feeling to last forever, you have to hit the like and subscribe button. Because with Box Set and Chill, the 80s and 90s never end.